Now we see why there's been a change in the law. There's a change in the law because the Levitical priesthood by nature was temporary in that people died, okay? Whereas the priesthood of the Messiah is eternal in that he will never die again. He did die once, but he's not going to die again, okay? So because of that, the priesthood was prophesied even in the prophets and in the Psalms to change from after the order of Aaron to after the order of Melchizedek or Malach Sadak. Okay. So now, because you have a change in the law, okay, you have also, because of that and with that, you have a new covenant. Okay, a new covenant. All right. So you have a new covenant and there's a change in the law. Now, this new covenant has been especially the target of slander. It's been the target of deception. It's been a target of slander and deception by the enemy. So that you got people out here that create whole churches with the name New Covenant in it. New Covenant Baptist Church, New Covenant Church of this, New Covenant that, New Covenant, New Covenant, New Covenant. But it's unfortunate that it's a deception because the new covenant they're talking about is not the one we're reading about here, we're going to read about in Hebrews chapter 8. It's not the same thing. How do I know it's not the same thing? Well, let me ask you all, especially those of you that have been involved with Christianity. Whenever they talk about a new covenant, aren't they also talking about doing away with the covenant? Aren't they? When they talk about we're under the new covenant, they're talking about, and I've heard even people that claim to keep the Sabbath, like SDAs talk like this. That's a whole covenant. No, that's not new covenant. That's a whole covenant. As if there's almost two different gods, right? As if there's two different gods. The first one was mean and he was arbitrary and he was just, he was hard. And the second one was just so loving and soft. And you could just do anything you want and you could still be saved. Right? That is, let me just be plain with you. That is falsehood. The new covenant that the Christianity teaches about is not the same one that we're going to teach about today, not the same one that the Bible teaches us about. That's one of the reasons, let me just be honest and real with you, why we say we do not serve the same God. We do not serve the same God. Christians do not serve the same God as the Israelite people. The white Jesus of Christianity is not the Judah-based Hebrew Messiah that we serve. Is not the same one. It's two different ones. Because if it was the same one, there'd be no difference in terms of this new covenant. Okay? There'd be no difference. But let's take a look at the new covenant as it is read in Jeremiah chapter 31. Because, this is the thing, brothers and sisters. As we said before, the prophets of the Old Testament, so-called Old Testament, are repeated in the New Testament. They're just repeated with more clarity because Messiah had been brought forth. Messiah brought Yah's righteousness into a new clarity and perfection that had not been understood previously. Okay, Messiah's life, his ministry, his resurrection, his high priestly ministry were brought into a clear, more powerful way as a result of him making his appearance on the earth than it had been previously. It was already there in the prophets, but it had been, again, even the scribes and Pharisees had twisted, misunderstood, misaligned, and bent and changed his law and his prophet's testimony to fit their greedy, deceptive pursuits. Okay? So let's take a look at the new covenant as it is written in Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 31. Jeremiah 31. Let's read from verse 1 down to verse 34. From verse 31 down to verse 34. Jeremiah chapter 31, from verse 31 down to verse 34. Notice what it says. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And I will be their most high, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. A few things about this covenant that we need to take note of. Let me just ask you all a question as we just read it. Who was the new covenant made with? Was it made with Babylonians or Egyptians or Englishmen or Canadians or Germans? Oh, it was made with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Now we know when it's talking about a house, it's talking about a family. A family, the family of Israel and the family of Judah. That's where this covenant was made with. Therefore, when pig-eating Gentiles talk about they have a new covenant, this is not the one. Okay, this is not the one. When pig-eating sons of Japhet tell you that they're under the new covenant, don't argue with them. Okay, whatever. I don't even know what their old covenant was for them to know what the new covenant is, because they had nothing to do with this one, because this is for the house of Israel and the house of Judah. That's number one. Okay, you understand that? House of Israel, house of Judah. So when these people from Ireland and these people from Germany and these Weinsteins and Feinsteins or whoever talk about a new covenant speaking Yiddish and all this foolishness, right? You could say, right, y'all got a new covenant. Okay, that's cool, right? We got one too, but this the covenant that was made with our fathers, the Israelite nation, who we are by blood. I don't know who you guys are. I mean, maybe your Fed had a covenant that you're broke. I don't know. But then you guys got this new covenant. You got New Covenant Baptist Church. Well, good for y'all. Enjoy your little pig and the crab and stuff that you eat in there. That's your business. So we respect that, right? We respect that. That's their business. Got nothing to do with us. We are the Israelite nation in the house of Judah. And he made a new covenant with us. And the reason he made it, let's look at it now. First, he made it with us, just like Moses said, the Most High didn't make this with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. He made with us, even all of us who are here alive this day. Well, he's making it with the house of Israel and Judah. Again, we just come out of Hebrews chapter 7, where it said there's been a change of the law, where Messiah is the high priest. The Messiah, the tribe of Judah, is the high priest. And again, it all works together because Messiah is prophet, Messiah is priest, Messiah is king. Messiah represents David, and Messiah represents the priesthood. Praise the Most High, Yah. And then it gives a reason that you had to have a new covenant. What was the reason? He said, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, says Yahweh. So he made a new covenant because why? They broke the first one. And again, let's just also make this very clear, very plain. He said, I made a covenant with the people I brought out of the land of Egypt. Just in case you didn't see the Israel and Judah, he said, I made a covenant with the people I brought out of the land of Egypt. And he said, they did not keep my covenant. Isn't that what he said? We just read it there, chapter 31, verse 32. So he says, and now, so he says, he's telling us who it's with. He's telling us why it had to happen. Okay, right? He's telling us who it's with and why it had to happen, right? Okay. Then he's going to tell us what he's doing with the new covenant. What is he doing? Verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law, that is the covenant, in their inward parts and write it in their hearts and will be their most high. They shall be my people. Wait a minute. Let me ask you all. Make sure you can hear me. By what means? How does the Father put his law in our hearts? How does he write his law in our inward parts? How does he do that? Ah, thank you, Isha. That's exactly right. He writes his law in our hearts by his spirit. And how does his spirit actually come to us so that he can write his law in our hearts? How does he do that? By what means does he take us sinners and make us clean enough so that he can put his spirit in us? How does he do that? He does it through Messiah. He does it through Messiah. Now, this is a future prophecy. You say, what? Yes, this is a future prophecy. We are living in the development of it right now. We're living in the development of it, but it's not fulfilled yet. How do I know it's not fulfilled yet? Verse 34. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 34. What does it say? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. So let me ask you, he said, we're not going to have to teach each other anymore about the Most High. Are we teaching each other right now about the Most High? I think we are, right? So therefore, this is not completely fulfilled yet. So let me ask you, when is going to come the time when we don't have to teach each other, when the iniquity will be no more? There'll be no more sin in the nation of Israel. There'll be no more sin to have to make a third covenant. That's right. When the Messiah returns and sets up the kingdom, this comes to pass. Right now, we're in the process of being developed for that. Therefore, we are in the process of him writing his law in our hearts. We're in the process right now of surrendering to this high priest who we just read the prophecy that the apostle said, come boldly to the throne of grace, that you may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. So we are now in the process of coming boldly to the throne of grace. Let me tell you something else, brothers and sisters. Not everybody is coming to that throne of grace. Only the Israelite people are coming to that throne of grace. Why? Because only the Israelite Messiah is searching for them. You understand? It's for the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Okay? So what about the other people? Well, first of all, if any man's going to say today in this 21st century, if they're going to say they're in the truth, right? One of the things that a person that's in the truth loves truth, right? I mean, that's just an obvious thing. If a person say they're in the truth, that means they love truth. They're not fighting against truth. They're embracing truth. Well, the truth they got to embrace is who is the true Israelite people, right? If you don't embrace who the true Israelites are, how are you going to say you're embracing their God? That's a good question. If you don't even know who the true Israelites are, how are you going to embrace their God? Because it's their God. It's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's the God of Moses. It's the God of the tribe of Judah, of the Messiah. It's an Israelite God. How are you going to try to diss the people and say you want their God? Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? I'm going to diss Yah's people, but I want Yah, though. That don't even make sense. Right? So the Israelite people are the chosen ones of the Most High. Let me make this plain for you. In America, the United States, in these 50 states, they're called Negroes or so-called African Americans, but that's not all. They're also in Haiti and Dominican Republic and Jamaica and Puerto Rico and Cuba. They're all the islands. They're also in South America and Brazil and Guyana. They're also in Trinidad and Tobago. They're also in Africa, then West Africa and East Africa and Central Africa and North Africa. They're also scattered into the Middle East. They're also Aborigine down in Australia. They're also called Negro in Philippines. They're everywhere. But you can know who they are. They're the ones that's usually the poorest. They're the poorest ones. A lot of them, most of them live in ghettos, right? They live in ghettos. They're well represented in prisons. You will look in prison, they're well represented there. They're well represented among the poorest of the people. They're well represented. And they also look down upon by the people that that have less melanin in their skin, that come from Europe. See, in the Brazilians' case, it's Portuguese people. In the United States case, it originally was English people and German people, right? right? Right. So now you have, so no matter where you go, if French people look down, French look down on people from Guyana, French Guiana, and you have also you have Mali, and you have Cote d'Ivoire. They renamed the African nation of Ivory Coast Cote d'Ivoire. Why? Because they were colonized by French. So you can know who they are. You don't have to look really hard. They're all around you. They're the ones that you're told to be scared of. You're told to be scared of them because they might hurt you, because they're so angry. I mean, after all, they did get strung up on trees quite a bit. They are getting the short end of a stick, but we're not supposed to be angry about that. Not supposed to be angry about that. No. So if we're angry, you all know who they are. And also, the darker their skin, the worse they are. The darker their skin, the worse they are. Yeah, that's what you're taught. The darker their skin, the worse they are. The lighter skinned ones, you can trust them. They're a little bit more like us. They're a little more like us. Watch them dark ones, though. That's what they say, right? I'm not telling y'all anything that's not true. You guys know I'm telling the truth, right? You guys know I'm telling the truth. So these are the true Israelite people scattered throughout the earth. These are the chosen ones. If somebody says, well, I love the truth. I love the truth. We all believe in the truth. Okay, who's the Israelites? Where they at? Very easy. How you gonna say you serve? Because the Creator only revealed Himself to that one chosen people. So who are they? And since anybody that come from Europe, and listen, they all try to make themselves the Israelites. The SDA Church will claim that they're the new Israel because the Israelites are done away with. The Mormons claim that the Caucasian man was always the Israelite. That's why he said white Jesus came to him out there with his child molesting Joseph Smith out there in Utah and revealed. That's just what they say anyway. And then of course the Jehovah's Witness thinks that they are the chosen ones, right? And then of course the Catholic Church, the word Catholic is universal because they say they're the only universal church. And the Holy Father, they call him Holy Father. That's the one higher than Messiah. Right? They really worship the goddess. But anyway, everybody's trying to get rid of us. This is a sign. This is a sign. So one of the things they try to tell us with their so-called new covenant, they try to tell us that we all serve the same God and they're under the new covenant. What they try to tell us is that the Sabbath is done away with, that the law is done away with under the new covenant. Well, we just read that's not true. But let's just continue in Jeremiah 31 for a second. And let's look at from verse 35. Let's look at from verse 35 down to verse 40, because when we read this whole thing in context, boy, it says a lot. Notice what it says here. Thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith Yahweh, if the heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the city shall be built to Yahweh, from the tower of Hananel unto the gate of the corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it upon the hill Garib, and shall compass about Goath, and the whole valley of dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields unto the brook of Kidron, unto the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy unto Yahweh. It shall not be plucked up, nor thrown down any more forever. We have a high priest that's liveth forever after the order of Malach Sadak. And through that high priest, he says, if you can stop the sun from shining, if you can stop the stars and the moon from shining, if you could do away with them, then I'll do away with my people. If you could do away with them, I'm going to do away with my people. Obviously, he's telling you, my people are forever. And what we're dealing with right now as part of the new covenant is the awakening. We're part of the awakening of the new covenant. that's going to culminate in us being in the kingdom, not having to teach each other about the Most High, because we're going to look the Most High in his face. We're going to see him with our own eyes. We're going to dwell with the Most High. Okay, and let's go back now to Hebrews now, because now we just read chapter 7, and we talked, and chapter 7 taught us about how Messiah is after the order of the King of Righteousness. Messiah is after the order of the King of Righteousness. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other in Messiah here. Okay. And because of an unchangeable eternal ministry of the Hebrew Messiah, his people are, listen, guaranteed to come back, guaranteed to be his eternal people, guaranteed. There's nothing that no one that can stop it. No matter how many false religions arise that claim this or claim that, there's only one chosen people of the Most High. They are identified as people that look a lot like ancient Egyptians and Ethiopians. They are identified as people who look a lot like them. They are identified as a people that have been in and out of slavery. They are identified as a people that have been scattered all over the earth, and wherever they are a byword. They're looked down upon. There are people identified as people that had chains of iron about their necks. I don't know how many people on the earth have been in and out of slavery multiple times by different peoples of the earth. How many people on the earth that not only have been in and out of slavery multiple times, but also have had chains about their neck, enslaved? How many people have been looked upon that have been enslaved multiple times, that are scattered all over the earth and are a byword everywhere they go? How many people like that? Oh, wait a minute. They also, just to let you know, just in case you weren't sure, just in case you might have thought they was Irish or something, let me just say this. They also came into slavery like this by ships. They also came into slavery like this by ships. They got hair like wool. Hair like wool, look like ancient Egyptians or Ethiopians, went in and out of slavery, came into slavery by ships, are looked down upon because of their appearance. Really, it's because of who they are. Who is that? Hebrews chapter 8. Hebrews chapter 8. Let us begin at verse 1. And go down to verse 5. Hebrews chapter 8 from verse 1 to verse 5. At this point, the apostle is now, after he has established the high priestly ministry of Messiah, he's going to now begin to show us, number one, what that high priestly ministry is accomplishing for us here in chapter 8. And then he's going to go and show us that the things that Aaron was told to minister, where Moses was told to create the sanctuary, are just types of an eternal permanent place where the patterns came from. So let's begin here in Hebrews chapter 8, going from verse 1 down to verse 5. Now, of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle, which Yahweh pitched and not man. You see, it wasn't the one Moses made. There's one that was a pattern, that was the original that the Most High made himself. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices, wherefore it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. As Moses was admonished of Yah when he was about to make the tabernacle, for see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern showed thee in the mount. So Moses was told to make the earthly sanctuary that Yah said, I want to dwell among my people. He said, make it according to a pattern. The pattern is the great original. The original. Okay? That is, there's a heavenly sanctuary with candlestick, and an altar of incense, and an ark of the covenant. Revelation shows us all of that. As a matter of fact, when you read Revelation chapter 1, you will understand that the revelation, the visions that are being shown to John are taking place from Messiah. And Messiah is in the holy place of the sanctuary. You can see, because he's in the midst of 7 golden candlesticks. That's the holy place of the Messiah. He's wearing fine linen, white linen. He's a priest. He's got a golden girdle about his waist. He's a priest. You understand? He is the high priest. And he has the names of the children of Israel on his heart. Praise Yah. Okay. Hebrews chapter 8 from verse 6. Verse 6 and verse 7. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. Now let's stop right here. What was the fault of the first covenant? Wasn't the law of Yah perfect? What is the fault? He said if the first covenant had been faultless, then there should be no place have been sought for a second. What was the problem with the first covenant? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Are y'all thinking about that? That's exactly right. Thank you, Isha. You're on point today. That's exactly right. The people. That's right, Kimmy. So the people that were disobedient and were in sin was the problem with the first covenant. Obviously, the covenant itself, like in other words, the commandments that they were to obey, there was nothing wrong with that. The Father had nothing wrong with him. The problem was the people he made the covenant with. They were disobedient, right, to his law. They said all that Yahweh have said, they took a vow. They said all that Yahweh have said, we will do and be obedient. And they broke the vow. And they were unrepentant in their breaking of the vow. Unrepentant. See, at least if somebody cheats on you, at least they can have the courtesy to say, I'm sorry, I did wrong. I shouldn't have did that. Now, you may not want to be with them because they broke a sacred vow. But at the same time, at least they're telling you, these people, our fathers, they broke the covenant and was just bold in their breaking of it. Unrepentant. Okay? Let's continue. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. Notice what it says, Hebrews 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them, that is with the people, he said, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Again, I want to stress, because of the eternal high priestly ministry that Father has set up Messiah to be, he can guarantee there's going to be repentance among his people. He can guarantee sin will be removed forever. He can guarantee he will have a holy people unto himself and fulfill his promise to Abraham. Okay? And that's why he's making a new covenant with the house of Israel, because through Messiah's high priestly ministry, made after the power of an endless life, he can cause sin to be removed forever. Okay? The rest of this repeats, well, not all of it, but from verse 9 to verse 12 repeats what we read in Jeremiah. So let's read that again. Hebrews chapter 8 from verse 9 to 12. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. They shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. So there'll be no more sin among the people. There'll be no more sin on the earth. And they will see, remember what we said, what the Bible showed us in Revelation? It says, there shall be no more curse, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. Remember that? And there shall be no more curse. That's Revelation 22. And they shall, but the throne of Yah and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. That's the new covenant. That's the completion of the new covenant. Okay, verse 13. Hebrews 8, verse 13. Watch this. In that he saith a new covenant, he hath made the first old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. See, anytime a Gentile reads the Bible and says new covenant, old, vanish away. Oh, no, covenant gone. See, ain't no covenant. The new covenant said there's no more law. So I gotta prevent that in your mind, that brainwashing that said that, you know, when he say the word decayeth and waxes away, you don't start thinking, oh, so the Ten Commandments decay and wax away, even though you know the truth is right here. We just read it, but just I gotta get that brainwashing away from you by the Father's Spirit. So look, what is he saying when he says the new covenant? He made the first old. Well, let me ask you, when we talked about sin, yeah, should say renewed. When he talked about sin, though, what happens to your old sin when you confess it? What happens to your sin when you confess it? It's gone. Guess what? It's decayed and waxed away. Can we say that? It decayeth and waxeth away. It waxeth old, ready to vanish. That's what happened to your sin. So what if he's taking the whole nation? And he say, I'm making a covenant with the whole nation of Israel. I'm going to bring the whole house of Israel into their land. What is he doing? That means all of their sins under the old covenant that they made, that they broke, are what? Decayeth, waxeth old, and ready to vanish away. So all of their sins under the covenant they broke are gone. And now I'm going to renew you in a covenant where my law is written in your hearts and in your minds. And you're going to know me. And there'll be no more sin and no more pain and no more death, because there'll be no more sin. No more abuse, no more hospitals, no more jails. The last thing that's going to be destroyed is death. He's going to destroy death. After he destroys sin, he's going to destroy death. That's right. No more adultery, no more worshiping other gods. We're going to actually see our God face to face. And why will we be able to see him face to face? Because we'll be covered in his own perfect righteousness. And that he gave us that righteousness forever. So therefore we can see his face. He told Moses, you can't see me and live. But that day, Moses looking at him, we're going to be looking at him. As a matter of fact, what we said last night when we was in family worship, he's going to sing for us. Right? Father gonna be so happy, he gonna sing for us. Can you imagine? The creator of what music is. Ultimate creator of music is the Father. He's the ultimate creator of music. Okay. So when he get ready to sing for us, we're gonna be talk about spellbound. So when he said, now that which decayeth and waxes old is ready to vanish away, he's talking about the sins of our nation, the sins that got us into slavery in the first place, what caused us to be taken away and spread to all nations and scattered into our enemies' lands. That's what's going to decay, wax old, and vanish away. Praise the Most High. And that's why he says also in Isaiah chapter 65, well, let's finish with that, matter of fact. Let's finish with that. Isaiah chapter 65. Notice what it says, Isaiah chapter 65. Because this is the same thing. It's the same promise. All of these promises are the same in that they result in the same ending. It's the same thing. In Isaiah chapter 65. All right, yeah. Isaiah 65. I'm going to start at verse. Okay, watch this. I'm going to start at verse 14. And I'm going to go from verse 14 down to verse 19. Isaiah 65 from 14 to 19. It's more than that, but I think this will get the point. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye, that is Yah, who oppress the servants of Yah, shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Most High Yahweh shall slay thee, and call his servant by another name, that he who blesseth himself in the earth shall bless himself in the Most High of truth, and he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the Most High of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, because they are hid from mine eyes. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth. Watch, the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. It decayeth and vanishes away. Praise the Most High Yah. For be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing and her people a joy, and I will rejoice. That is the Most High Himself. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. Same thing. See? That's the new covenant right there. That's the new covenant. That's the result of the new covenant, which is the result of the high priestly ministry of Messiah. That's the result. That's why we said in the beginning of this study in chapter 1, we said, without the high priestly ministry of Messiah, nobody could be saved. He could not perform the high priestly ministry until he was killed and resurrected. He could not be killed and resurrected unless he was born of divine origin. All of that happened without any of those parts. With any of those parts missing, it would not. None of it would work. So you got to have all of those links together in the chain. And one of these last links is the high priestly ministry of Messiah, through which we will gain perfection, through which we will overcome all our sin and be ready to live in a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Most High Yah. We are so grateful and thankful for what the Father is doing for us. We are. It's not that complicated, man, but there's a lot of deception out here, unfortunately. A lot of deception, but it's not that complicated. Praise Yah. Praise Yah for the simplicity and power of His salvation in Messiah. Let's have a word of prayer. Most High Yahweh, we're again very grateful and thankful for all you have done and are doing